Good evening. Welcome to the CEO Talk Ahmedabad. This is an initiative by the Talk. My name is Muthu and I own a brand called Crumbles and I make delicious organic cookies out of it. And I'll be the moderator for today's session. The Talk offers a powerful platform for meaningful business relationships and partnerships amongst various SMEs in the country. And this event is brought to you by the Tata Telebusiness Services. They are the country's leading enabler of connectivity and communication solutions for the businesses in India. They offer solutions ranging from collaboration, cloud IoT, marketing, security, and also connectivity solutions. And they are also the country's leading provider of ICT services for the businesses. So I would like to start today's session by introducing the eminent panelists who have joined us here today. Now I know this is a virtual session, but let us give a good round of applause as I introduce each of the speakers so that we have a good energy flowing inside the room. I would like to start by introducing Mr. Jaimin Gupta, CEO, Waxtex Cough Lab Limited. Welcome, Mr. Jaimin. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you. Following up, we have Mr. Kashyap Chotai, Executive Director, BNI Rajkot, Director, Shriram Impact. Welcome, sir. Very, very happy to have you here.
Thank you so much.
We also have Bhavni Kaunda, founder and Outliers Publishing and Infinity Business Solutions. Welcome, Bhavni. Pleasure having you here with us. We have Mr. Yash Shah, founder and CEO, The Address, Director, True Value Group. Welcome, Yash. Happy to have you here. We have Mr. Saurabh Khandelwal, Director.
Hello.
Very happy to have you here. And I'm also very, very privileged to welcome Mr. Hashim Dave, the marketing executive from the Tata Tele, here with us. Welcome, sir. So before we begin the session, I would like to invite Mr. Harshdeep to deliver a brief welcome note for this session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Muthu, and it's indeed a privilege to be part of this eminent panel. Before I start my address, I would like to really thank all of you for taking out time during this challenging COVID times. I know various business houses are struggling in terms of putting their act right. Having said that, we have bifurcated our time slot in such a way that we spend much of our time in such a way that we devote it to the respective set of segments that is needed. Having said that, this such module that we have been doing for past 2-3 years now, the basic objective of such event is to simulate and populate sort of learning out of those business entities, which is again a part and session of larger broader community who are into similar set of business learnings. Our job as a Tata organization is to impart those learnings to other set of business houses and share those success stories which have been implemented by business leaders like you across the industry vertical and help them to overcome those digital transformation challenges and business challenges. Having said that, it will be an endeavor to have those business learnings documented and see to it how wider exposures we can make it available to the set of sections that we cater to. So once again, I welcome you all and I thank you for sparing time for this session. Over to you, Muthu.
Thank you so much, Mr. Harshdeep, for that really brief welcome note and setting the session on a really positive note. Thank you so much. And let us quickly jump on to today's panel discussion round without any further ado. As I told you before, this is going to be a full-length panel discussion round. I have a set of questions with me, and I would love to understand your perspectives for each of the same. So the theme of today's session is going to be Reset to Grow with Tech Advantage. So we are going to talk about how the technology has been helping the businesses to grow during these tough times like the pandemic. As I told you before, this is going to be a time-bound session. So kindly have a check on your timing. Kindly keep your responses crisp. So the first question is going to be a very gentle question. Like you can have around 90 seconds and not more for your response. So talking about this last 1 year, it has been a complete roller coaster ride for every one of us, especially in India. Right? Talking about in business terms, there were a lot of companies that got pretty badly hit, and at the same time, there were a lot of companies that really bloomed during this pandemic. I still remember people telling each other that things are going to be fine by the August, but the August went by, the new year came in, and I think it's almost the first year of since the pandemic had struck, and I think the situation is not getting better anytime soon. It is only getting even more bad. But one thing that has not been changed in this last 1 year is the very change itself, right? The change has been inevitable throughout the time, and pandemic is definitely not an exception. Everything around us is changing, and so is our business. So my first question to the panelists today is, gentlemen, the business is changing. How is your business responding to the change? Can you have your answers under 90 seconds? I'd like to start with Mr. Kashyap. Over to you.
Yeah, definitely it is an indifferent situation. We might, this generation might not have seen such a situation. We are into the supplier, into the industrial sector. So for us, in a way, it is good. It is a boom for us. There are lots of development happening in industrial projects, infra projects. The state government and the central government is spending a lot of money to complete these projects. And we supply to those companies who are finishing those projects. So yeah, in a way, it is good for us. This change, the things are speeding up quite well. Yeah, so good for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kashyap. So we have a positive start to today's session. And yes, over to Yash.
A very warm welcome to all the panelists who are present here and moving forward. I think that the adaptability over the last year has been the major issue, a positive or a negative concern for everybody that has been in the market. How have you been able to adapt, or how are you trying to adapt to these particular sort of things which are making the world smaller, better, or trying to in the last 1 year or probably a year and a half? But looking forward to that, I think one of the major reasons or one of the major things now that has been is that we have taken Zoom in our lives so seriously that it is going to play a very important role to actually come out of it. With that being said, I think that pretty much spending roughly 10 to 12 hours on your telephone, looking at your screen times or your laptop times, putting into consideration what we are in. I think that the question that you asked is going to be that how are we actually going to come out of it rather than, adapting to it, because we have already adapted. We have adapted to this since a very long time. Now it's going to be something fantastic if we're just going to be able to come out and see each other without masks, just without Zoom. Because talking about a people's business, the service business which I run, I was prone to seeing 1,300 people a day to something which is entirely empty, and here I am on Zoom. So it is a little hurtful, but then yes, we are in this and there's nothing that we can do about it. So there we have online houses and online stand-up comedies that we do, and online lots of sessions that we plan. So I think that sure, we have already adapted to it. Rather, we have to now figure out how do we really come back to the.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yash. Let me quickly move on to Mr. Jaimin.
Yes, so we are into textile industry. So we have really shifted our products to the textile medical products like bed sheets, hospital bed sheets, this PPE kits. So it has really been a change. We had no other option but to adapt this new thing. We had no other option but to transform our industries into some kind of hospital supplies so we can keep our businesses running. So eventually we had to adapt this industry. We had to adapt the thing that we need to manufacture the PPE kits and bed sheets and hospital supplies to keep the industries moving. Else, textiles was really slow. And even in the current scenario, it is showing the effect. Pandemic is really showing the effect in textile industry. There's very high drop in the demand of textile products, garments, and everything. So adoption has come into change of supply. Like now we are supplying to hospitals, to medical distributors. The products have changed from fabrics and garments to PP kits and bed sheets. So this is the change now we have to take.
Thank you, Mr. Jayman. Let me quickly ask Mr. Saurabh.
Yeah, hi everybody. Good afternoon. So as far as the business is concerned and adoption of the technology, what I understand is there used to be a concept, think globally and act locally. I would put it in this way. Now we have started thinking work globally but sit locally. So basically what we have been adopted is sitting in your local offices and roaming across the world, and you can do multiple meetings in the same day, which used to be one meeting a day when you used to travel just for an half an hour meeting for spending a day, or rather spending a time also on the flights. So this has changed. Basically, this has been good also, but at the same time, what it is lacking, and it is also giving us a cause of concern, is that we should be careful in dealing with the people. So I take the leaf from the Corona's book that we should have the prevention, precaution, and solution. Now, when we talk about the prevention, we're talking about the vaccination. If we take a vaccination, we are prevented from Corona. If we are affected by Corona, we have to take a medical treatment, which is solution. And precaution is washing hands and everything, and doing sanitization, putting mask is precaution. So similarly in businesses also, now we are seeing that it's a grave need to work on these aspects, because we are into money recovery. So basically what we have observed after this Corona period is that we have to be extremely careful about dealing with the right parties. When you are doing business, you have to select the right parties dealing with them. You have to ensure that when you are dealing with them, you are adopting the preventive things. And precaution means that you are taking the insurances and other thing when you are doing with this business with them. And solution, of course, when you are stuck money, then you have to immediately take the solution. Like you don't delay when you are affected with Corona. Similarly, you don't delay when your money is stuck. So there are a lot of online frauds which has happened. There are a lot of people who have cheated people in this pandemic, and we have to be careful about them. So this is my message to all of you.
All right, it was indeed a very rapid message that was shared by Mr. Saurabh. Then let me ask Bhavani at this time. Bhavani, over to you.
Thank you. Like, I belong to an industry that has made money out of this pandemic, like sanitizer industry, right? Publishing authors have got a lot of time, and I have like piles of manuscripts to process. Talking about the outsourcing business, there was a lot of push, a lot of demand in the market. Since we work on a model, the Zoom is not new for us. Working from home is not new for us. We have been doing it for 12 years. So I would say we were strategically placed in a way that we could take benefit of it sooner, as soon as it was hit. So we moved. This has been the highest annual growth year for us for both the businesses. We have more employees. We have hired more employees than ever. We have trained more employees than ever. We have cracked more contracts than ever. So the challenge was not to adapt. The challenge was to keep up with the pace. However, I see that because of the pandemic, we could hire a lot of people, lot of great people, great resources at a great price. When we talk about the price component, right? The challenge will come now when things start opening up and they start having a lot more opportunities. So that is what we are preparing ourselves for right now. So that's something that we are preparing right now. Otherwise, we all set for the pandemic season.
Wonderful. Now, if someone in India who doesn't want the pandemic to get over, I think Bhavani.
No. Sadly, no. That's not what I want. I just want to make sure that this growth continues without the pandemic.
I think he's having a ball of time during this pandemic. Anyway, but very, very happy for you that the business is going during this tough time. All right, so that's great. So a lot of us have been, I see a lot of positive responses about the way the business is changing. And we have our very own, the executive director of BNI, Mr. Kashyap, and the entire organization itself tells that it changes the way the world does business. So there's a lot of positive responses going around. There is a buzz of positivity that has been coming up amidst the entire chaotic situation on the flip side. But I think this pandemic also opened the doors for a lot of interesting stuff that happened with respect to technology as well, right? Specifically for the businesses with technology. Like for an instance, let us take this concept of remote working or work from home. Leaving aside Bhavni, who has been, mending herself for this for the last 12 years. But jokes apart, in general, this entire concept of work from home has always been a debatable topic, right? So there has always been a lot of, doubts. There's always been a lot of questions. How far is this going to work out? Or see, we can even still see a lot of us struggling to run a meeting at home. Every time we run a meeting at home, that's when our kids start to shout, or that's when we hear noise from moms or wives, talking about some work or whatever. These are the nominal challenges. But I wanted to ask you, I wanted to understand at this juncture, with regards to the business, what are some of the biggest challenges the businesses are facing right now, especially in terms of remote working? This is going to be my next question. I'd again like to start with Mr. Kashyap. Sir, over to you.
Yes, you already answered a few of the questions you have already asked. To adapt to the work from home network is quite a challenge. If we talk about India, there are lots of manpower who are, not comfortable working with the gadgets and the use of technology. So I think one thing which we or all the staff needs to be upgraded on using a very regular use of technology. As Yash said, that we most of us are in front of the screen, in front of Zoom. So that would be one challenging thing to adapt for the second line of staff or maybe third line of staff to adapt. Yeah.
All right, fantastic. So I think I made your answer a little easy before you even answered. That's great. And let me ask you, Mr. Yash, over to you.
So I think that there is a two-way street over here. I would say that it is indeed very difficult to get the maximum productivity out of people as far as work from home is concerned, because in case you were supposed to call up a salesperson and ask them as to how the sales part has been going on Zoom, they would probably tell you that there is not even a single client they've been able to reach out, because they wouldn't even be willing to pick up their Zoom calls. Coming from the industry which is highly focused on people coming down to see my product, which is real estate, I am never going to be able to sell off a house or an office or rent out a co-working space just over a video call or over a Zoom call, because at the end of the day, people have to come out for something which is going to be of their particular need. Now, India being the country, being such a large demographic, work from home, I would say, belongs to the industries which can actually really implement it with 100% productivity. So somebody like Bhavini who might be able to do that, and some IT companies which can be, who are outsourcing or which can possibly get their businesses done online, are great to go. But you can go over and ask a sales team, you can go over and talk to a textile manufacturer, you can go on and ask a real estate person, they would probably say that it is absolutely impossible to really go on and far ahead with work from home. But at the same time, there are various industries that are actually booming because of this as well. So it's always going to be a two-way street. But I still think that at the end of the day, ever since we were kids to the present day, an office loves some competition amongst itself. And that is one of the reasons why the work from home factor to me is a little not doesn't really speak out to me, because I feel that when employees or when people are amongst themselves and they have the chance to compete, they have the chance to really perform against each other as well as with each other, it can create a terrific difference to the overall organization. So yeah, I think this is something which can be
Thank you, Mr. Yash. So let me quickly ask you, Mr. Saurabh, at this juncture, over to you.
Yeah, Muthu, what I believe is that this work from home and this technology usage is very good for certain industry, but definitely because there is a huge generation gap between the people we are dealing with. There are people who we are dealing between 50 to 60, and there are people who we are dealing between 20 and 30s. It's very comfortable and adaptable for the people when we are dealing with the young generation, but it's become very difficult when we are dealing with the people who are ranging in the range of 40 plus 60. I'll put it as general. And what happens is those people, instead of working, they avoid it. So basically it's like the things are functioning but they are not functioning, so it's being delayed. And the typical case is in the case of courts. So what is happening is that the entire judiciary is not functioning for last so many days and months and now a year almost, where some courts are adapting very well but some courts are not adapting and they are delaying. This is leading to a very big problem with the industry, because what is happening is that the justice delays, justice denied basis. So what is happening is this is also hurting the interest of lots of people, like the lawyers are there are consultants are there, the people are misusing the law. So basically this technology is being adopted, but we need training. As Yash rightly said, there has to be a training for those people, and I believe that industry should spend a lot of money in training those people and getting them used to it. So once that is done, then definitely it's a boom, but otherwise it's 50-50. I mean, let's put it like this. Let's say everything becomes normal. How many people will still go ahead and adopt work from home? I believe probably 15%, not even that.
Fantastic. Rightly said, Mr. Saurabh, training of the employees and how to be tech savvy or how to use a lot of online platform, or training them to adapt to the digital normal is very, very essential. I think that has become one of the biggest challenges. I still see a lot of people who are struggling to access the Zoom properly. It's been almost 1 year since we are all Zoom savvy, but still the proper education or the proper way to use it still is not being given. So rightly said, Mr. Saurabh, thank you for bringing it out. Over to Mr. Jaimin.
See, as we belong to an offline industry, our textile industry is mostly into offline. Our retail industry is 85% into offline. So we can't expect a sales guy to close a deal on a Zoom call. So for us, work from home has been very least effective. We cannot create an efficiency of the employees. We cannot generate revenues. Neither can we ask any employee to close a deal on a Zoom call. So for us, work from home has been of no use, and it has really dropped our revenues. Like unless and until we have a field sales guy, we cannot generate revenues for our business. So for us, it is not helping much. It is in fact dropping the revenues. Like as we say, we cannot have a deal closure on a Zoom call. It is just we can have a discussion. We can just create a lead. So even in the last lockdown and even today's circumstances, my salespeople are just creating leads. It is the best they can do, but they can't close a deal. So for us, work from home is of no use. We cannot even consider of getting it implemented.
All right.
Rather we ask the employees to take rest.
All right. Done. Thank you, Mr. Jaimin. Finally, Bhavni, over to you.
Okay, I completely agree. It is so industry specific. Also, adapting to tech has a learning curve, right? Today, I'm able to say that my team is working with efficiency is because I've put in 12 years in creating process and training them, and that's where they are here right now. And this happened because that was the need of my industry then. Our target audience was not in India, so there was no way we could wait for physically going and meeting them. So this definitely requires this has a long learning curve. We have to see how steep can we make it. Second, when we talk about challenges of work from home, there are like two kinds of challenges: one for employers and one for the employees. Right? For employers, it's like putting the process in place, making sure you have to reevaluate your entire HR policy. You have to reevaluate how you're going to evaluate them. How do you measure their success? Because as Jaimin said that there are no sales happening. Yash said there are no sales happening, right? It's not that they're not putting in efforts. It's just not resulting. So you have to change your entire system of how you evaluate them. Second, it's the biggest challenge is how to keep them engaged. They are used to meeting. They're used to coming together, meeting, spending time, creating this bond, and enjoy this internal competition, which does not happen online. So there are a lot of tools now available to keep them bonded, but that nothing can replace the physical coming to office and creating the bond. Absolutely nothing can. We can just work towards making it slightly better. From employees' point of view, apart from people disturbing at home, a lot of employees look at their job as a place to go out, a kind of escape, because everybody comes from a different background. We have to, kind of acknowledge and accept it. So they are not left with that avenue. So work was something that they used to come out for, enjoy, get freshen up, and go back home, right? So which is not happening, which is very frustrating, despite having the entire work from home setup. Also that India has a lot of joint families, too many people in the family. You don't have privacy to sit and work. You don't have a better background. Just as something as small as having a background to sit and have a video call is something that people don't have the privilege of. So yeah, these are some of the challenges that we're trying to zoom with the virtual backgrounds and all, trying to help people to make the lives easy. But yeah, there are a lot of challenges. It cannot be a perfect world without physical meetup. It has to open up.
Thank you, Bhavani. Very surprised to see that even you are facing a lot of challenges for someone who's been preparing for this situation all their life. But yes, we're talking about a lot of challenges. But as someone rightly mentioned, the work from home, the efficiency of work from home is definitely industry specific. Just like how Jaimin said, for a manufacturing company, work from home cannot be a solution, or it cannot be efficient. So we have to see, we have to just wait and watch how the climate is changing in India and how every industry is coping up with the digital normal. And at this juncture, I would also like to, talk about the growth of the BPOs or the e-commerce, especially during this pandemic. The online market, the online shopping or the online purchasing, entire online market has been, booming ever since the pandemic had started. And for a startup or an SME, the number of phone calls that has to be done per day is also increasing. Following up the leads is very important, and for the new calls or for the new marketing calls or for whatever the purpose, the entire call management system is very, very crucial for the growth or for the performance of the company. At this juncture, I would like to invite Mr. Harshdeep and ask him a question. What are the limitations of the traditional call management systems? Over to you, sir.
Sure, thank you, Muthu. So I would like to put this into a perspective, and rather than going generic, I would like to be a little specific in terms of what our other panelists have also summarized in terms of challenges from work from home. See, there are various interesting aspects of a different industry, like Bhavani also quoted that different industry has a different learning curve, and being part of technology industry, it is easy for you to adopt. But then what is that you are offering to your end consumer, right? What is that you are offering as a value add and learning curve for the customers who are end recipient of it? That is a bigger challenge. Secondly, Saurabh very categorically said that there is a generation gap. So we as a technology organization have to understand all these limitations, and these all limitations we can capture from the business leaders like of yours who are present in this meet. So what we typically do is we do not seemingly segregate our research and development in terms of putting it into a box size fitment. Rather than what we do is we try to articulate industry-wise challenge and try to see how far we can mitigate those challenges. And very interesting point which was raised by I have noted down. It was raised by Yash, if I'm not wrong. You spoke about productivity is a bigger challenge. Now, productivity seemingly you can segregate in various forms and shape. Having said that, to specific limitations, I would say it doesn't allow you and give you a flexibility of scaling up when it comes to technology as a whole, because technology adoption and technology implementation varies from industry to industry and segment to segment. At the same point in time, it also doesn't give you a liberty to set up something which is industry specific for your own use. There are ample number of solutions available, but then how far we are able to reach those solutions, that is again a challenge. Technology has its own upgradation cost, and it also has a reverse engineering cost. When I say this, it has a cost to implement it. It also has a cost to de-implement it, because ultimately whatever you have implemented in terms of value proposition, in terms of time, in terms of money, by virtue of technology upgradation, it goes in vain, right? So you invest X amount of money, tomorrow there's a 2.0 version of that technology, you upgrade it. So it has its own challenges and limitation. And the biggest challenge which I like from the eminent panelists who have just said is about the adoption. How far you are able to reach to the end user, the last mile, who is not only able to use it, but actually put it into a practical use for the benefit of the organization he's working for. So these are the some challenges that we think we keep in mind before we go for an ICT adoption or any sort of product intervention. Having said that, there are a few advantages in terms of the forthcoming technologies that we have. Probably if given a chance, I would like to speak little bit in brief about those technologies at the later part. Over to you.
Definitely, sir. We'll definitely get back to you on that. That is the question to understand about it as well. But moving forward, there is one thing which I wanted to convey at this juncture. I hope everyone will be agreeing it to me. Is that this technology, this entire technology, has always been there into existence. This pandemic had only made us to embrace these technologies quicker than it was supposed to be. All these video conferencing apps, like before Zoom, there was something called as Skype. So there were a lot of delegation apps. Today, a lot of companies use a software called Slack, wherein they delegate the works without any hassle. But all these had already been there. But this pandemic had only made us to embrace quickly than it was supposed to be. Now, at this juncture, I would like to understand from the panelists, what kind of technology adoption you made during this pandemic to ensure your business continuity? And again, I'd like to start with Mr. Kashyap. Over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Muthu. We have in our industry, as Jaimin said, in garments industry, the touch and feel has to be there. So in our industry also, everything is physical. Nothing can be virtual. Our products need to go to the consumer end. The specifications, the pricing can be discussed. So what we have done is that we have converted all our physical brochures into digital. It were already there, but we have speeded up the process. All our communications which were physical now are through email or WhatsApp. We have set up a system wherein we record all these things digitally. As Ashadeep said, there is a capital cost to adapt these changes. We were lucky enough that we were already shifting on to the digital world, and as you said, the things has speeded up at a warp speed. So these are the few things which in our industry we are trying to do, is that we are trying to make all the records go digital. Yeah.
All right. And I also have personally seen how BNI is also coping up with this digital normal, having separate Zoom license for each and every region and chapter. So I think that has been a great implementation of the technology with regards to an organization. And I'm also a member of it, to give you a small heads up. So I think I can personally know how it works. So moving on, I would like to bring in Yash at this juncture. Yash, over to you. Let me hear it from you.
I'm so sorry. Can you repeat the question for me, please?
Yeah, the question is, what kind of technology adoption you made during this pandemic to ensure business continuity?
So there were a few adaptations which happened. Whatever we used to do physically, we tried to take a lot of it over the Zoom calls or over the tech aspect. As far as we were concerned, we tried to have people come on and experience events of the Zoom meetings and so on and so forth. However, I think that because I have spent a lot of time in the West and Southeast Asian countries and have lived across multiple countries, I am not somebody that believes very heavily in moving everything to tech. I would say that my company or I have been able to move things which were required for me to absolutely move them on tech for getting my purpose solved. And I think that is the best way I would like to put this in, because we did not want as an organization for people to really think of this as a massive panic or something that we wanted to intend on for a longer span of time, which was our main motive or main goal. Sure, there were quite a lot of companies that have moved to this particular platform, so on and so forth. However, we still feel that for somebody like Kashyap, who's with me, when we had to meet 20, I mean, when he meets 20 friends of his from BNI, and if I had to see 20 people over a Zoom call or have a drink with 20 of them at my place, there would be a significant difference about how I feel about all of it. So again, I would, the right way to put it would be that I have moved tech as much as I have needed it to, just for a timely frame, or even if it is forever, where I can get my work done, but not more than that. And I do not even intend on planning to do the same.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Yash. Let me quickly ask Mr. Jamin, over to you.
I'm running a men's fashion brand by the name Barcelona. We have an operational outlets, more than 50 operational outlets we have, all our exclusive brand outlets. We also have an e-commerce website. Now, there's nothing we can adopt a new technology, or we can, like, technology won't help me increase my productivity or efficiency for my team or for my revenues. The best way I can take use of technology is increasing more and more leads. So that is the activity which was already being done. We were already into digital marketing activities. We were already running our campaigns to increase our online sales, e-commerce sales. We have just increased that budget, and we have been working heavily on increasing our online revenue sales. But there's no adoption of a new technology. The technology was already in place. We were already in use of that. We've just increased working of the technology. Else, if you ask the manufacturing industry guy what technology can benefit in, nothing. Technology can do nothing for it, because manufacturing takes a physical presence.
All right. So I think the manufacturing industry is definitely facing a lot of challenge, especially in terms of technology adoption. And yes, thank you, Mr. Jamin, for that input. Over to Mr. Saurabh. Let me hear it from you, sir.
Actually, as far as our industry is concerned, I am a regular speaker on money recovery and de-risking of the business. So yes, in this pandemic, I've used the technology to make a reach to a lot of number of people across India. So I've done various webinars during this process, but honestly speaking, I believe that this is not even 10% of what the result we would have expected in a real-time scenario, because there is not a possibility of a cross questions and all those things are there. So that part is lacking. And very honestly, only in the initial period, people were very keen for the webinars. After that, they were totally out of it. In fact, it was like a tsunami of webinars happening, and over a period of time, from 500 people in the seminar, they have reduced to 20 people in a seminar. Nobody bothers to come. So the tsunami of the things has put them across. So instead of that, even if one seminar would have happened in that period, despite COVID, trust me, more than 500 people would have come. So it is like people just want to get out of this. So people would have never got bored of such seminars regularly happening, but they are definitely bored of webinars happening now and then. It is similar to what you can get a training or a education to your kids from the applications. It's all available on Google and YouTube, but still it can never match to what they are being taught in the schools. So it's not the 360-degree enjoyment, or it's not only what you get during that seminar. It's networking, it's meeting people, it's knowing each other, it's the warmth, it's everything which cannot replace. So you may be getting the actual thing, but it's not actual thing what people looks for. They're looking for much more than that. That is something which is there.
Perfectly said, Saurabh. Now, I think at least as far as India is concerned, no matter whatever the technology you incorporate, there is nothing that is going to satisfy an entrepreneur of face-to-face discussion and closing a deal. Although you have any kind of high bandwidth or a perfectly working video conferencing app to talk with your client, it is never going to match the satisfaction that is going to give when you sit right in front of him and talk to him face to face. Yes, as Saurabh also said, I think pandemic, we all thought we'll be really very free initially, but I think we ended up being doubly busy than what we were supposed to be. I think we were all kind of free during the normal lives, but during this pandemic, as Saurabh said, there was a tsunami of webinars. I think I myself personally attended close to 3 to 4 seminars running throughout the day during those times. Thank you, Saurabh, for telling that. Finally, I would like to end this round with Bhavni. Over to you.
Okay. Like there are two parts again to this. One is when we compare what it is right now with technology on the processes that already existed, right? When you're talking about a real estate tour, a tour to your property, or somebody going and physically purchasing from your store, Jamin, So these are the things that cannot be replaced by online. But online at the same time has opened so many possibilities, new possibilities that never existed. If I give an example to Kashyap, we just mentioned BNI, it wasn't possible to attend a meeting in New York, right? Unless you fly there. But now you can. Like now you can sit 4 days a week and attend every meeting in every chapter of the world. That opens up new possibilities, new chances of collaboration to people who are into industry like mine, or people who are looking to export, even manufacturing units, right? They started exporting just by making new connections, because this is all you have got now. You don't have option to choose online or offline, right? You just have this. And so people have started to make the most of it. It's like, as you rightly said, the technology already existed. People are not using it as much till it became the necessity, right? If today, if you were to arrange this webinar, there's no other there's no option. You can't call us physically. This is the only option you have. And now once you accept this fact, you start building beyond it. For example, what we did in our publishing, we started, people have started moving a lot from physical books to e-books. E-books always existed, but believe me, the transition that has happened in last year, moving from physical books to ebooks, just the fear of ordering a book and the delivery person carrying something home, right? That has made people move from physical books to ebooks, and we have created this tech around it, wherein we have collaborated with a company actually to create it, to pay as you read. The biggest challenge for readers are they purchase books and they don't complete it. Now this platform allows you to purchase books and pay as you go. You can pay per chapter. As you read, you pay. So that has completely, pushed us to innovate something new. In your industry, Yash, there were so many people always dependent on physical work. Your sales team, for example, the number of leads that they were managing, the number of things. So CRMs always existed, although they were not specific CRMs for your industry, but it always existed. Now, in this last year, we have created customized CRM solutions for a lot of builders in Ahmedabad. Wherein right from, when the lead walks in to the collection to legal, everything on the software, right? So their entire department starts working on it, not because this was not efficient earlier, but because this is all you have got right now. And some of the processes are so efficient that cuts the manual work, that you would want to continue using it even when you go offline. Of course, you would want to meet people for sales, but you don't want to call 10 people for follow-ups. You just want to do it on a click of a button. You want to schedule your reminders, right? So those are the things, you just want to send them an electronic receipt. So these are the things that are going to stay. So of course it came, pandemic came with a lot of challenges, but it also opened a lot of options and possibilities, that never existed before. So I would really say, that there was a silver lining to the cloud.
Definitely is. Thank you, Bhavni, for bringing that out. So I think there has been a lot of technology adoptions that have been made, invariably of any industry. But I think we all made it, right? So no matter how difficult the time was, there was something or the other that we did, and we made it through. And I think we're all sitting here, at least breathing. So I think we have to pat ourselves for that. And at this juncture, I'd like to bring in Mr. Harshdeep once again, and I'd like to ask him this: what are some of the digital strategies that can be deployed to harness simple and cost-effective communication?
Sure, Muthu. So taking cue from, specifically and for specific answers that were given by Yash for the construction industry, and specifically to Mr. Jamin Gupta, since he is into a manufacturing unit, and very well articulated by Bhavani in terms of, adoption of technology in seemingly all the varied sectors of economy. See, technology doesn't need a, widespread adoption. It starts with small adoption, then it goes bigger. It cut across your segments, your departments, and then probably it grows. Once you think about the pain point, once you think about the problem statement of particular department or problem statement in terms of manufacturing or construction, even there are, interventions available for sales, remote sales. I'm saying there are a lot of IoT, industrial IoT, which enhances your productivity, which enhances your, floor shift, production capacity, and things like that. So these are small things that, seemingly and probably so far has not been exposed to us. Hence, we think of in a remote manner. Having said that, coming to the basic crux of the question, there are a lot of technology adoptions that we have noticed and witnessed in terms of digital adoption. Some of them need not be, a capex-based investment. There are a lot of OPEX model which are technology organizations like us are offering nowadays. You need not invest into heavy technological adoption in terms of capex and buying the technology and probably then trying to replicate it across the organization and verticals. You can start with small and then probably gradually you can grow. Instead of adopting technology on trial and error basis, there are various POC which are available, proof of concept. You can go through those proof of concept, you can go through those industrial segments, and you can have a balance created in terms of whether this set of technology is right fit for your organization and does it make sense for you to adopt it or not. That can be a best way of adopting any digital technology. One more important point is about the cost saving, because the more you invest in the infra in terms of capital expenditure, it gives you a little base of deprivement in terms of when the technology changes. You are not that fast in terms of changing the technology or shifting the technology because your cost has already gone into it. By the time technology makes it shift, you are trying to cope up with the learning and the training part of it. So technology is running much ahead of us, and probably we are trying to catch it up in terms of adoption piece. One can adopt a similar similar type of digital technology in various set of facets of life. Let it be a digital organization which Bhavani runs, or let it be a manufacturing unit that Jamin Gupta is running. So it really we need to think as which facet of life do we really need to have this adoption intervention needed, and then we have to probably think of taking right set of intervention through proper set of partners available in the market. So that is what I feel, and that is what we have been doing in terms of value addition to our customers. Over to you, Muthu.
Sir, how to take my girlfriend out for a dinner?
Not possible.
I don't think so. He is good in giving that advice. But nevertheless, I think what Harshit said was really right. Pairing up with a right tech solution provider is very, very essential, like how Tata Tele is doing. Having a good tech solution provider is very, very essential during this tough times. And I've heard Manu Singh telling me a very interesting story about how he reduced, the capex of a client from 2 crores to just 5 lakh. And I think these are certain bases wherein a proper tech solution is very, very quintessential, in running a very, very hassle-free business. So talking about the other things as to the other palace, we're talking about the remote working culture. So talking about this remote working culture, there has to be some kind of setup that has to be made so that the employees or the staffs can work hassle-free. So I want to understand from from the entrepreneurs here, what kind of investment did you make to enable a hassle-free remote working environment during the pandemic? I would like to bring in, I think, this work from home specialist, Bhavani, to answer this first, and maybe I can go on to the others later. Over to you, Bhavani.
So there are certain processes that we've always been following, and which was weekly team bonding things, because every team has a mix of work from home and work from office employees. So we create this. We always had this once in a fortnight kind of game thing or a casual meetup, and we continued with that. We also included, so earlier we never used to have like the entire office event that would happen only once a year when people would, because we have people working from all over the country. So, we would have it once a year and get them here and, have the annual social kind of event. But apart from that, because of Zoom, we have made that a monthly thing. So every month, entire office, we're like 120 people get on a Zoom call and we have game evening. So that is something that we have decided to do. We have our meals together, like we have our dinner together. So everybody comes with their own set of dinner and we enjoy the games and we eat together. So that has been our way of, taking care of the pandemic and keeping everyone sane. Because for some, it has been a long-term thing. They've always been working from home. But for some, it has been a new change. They were not used to working from home. They were managing a team working from home. So a lot of top level management that we have, we really need to focus. We have started focusing more on them, and we definitely have like one event every fortnight, and every month we meet the entire. The 15 days thing is divided per teams, and once in a month the entire office meets together. So that's the
Wonderful.
kind of setup we have right now.
Okay, thank you, Bhavani. And moving forward, Kashyap, we're just talking about what kind of investment do the businesses make to enable the remote working culture. Over to Kashyap.
Yeah, so the major investment we have made is into the Zoom licenses. So that is the major investment which we have made. The things are pretty, moving pretty fast. As Harshadip said, we were already, aware of this technology. All the technologies were already there, but the speed of adoption or the implementation were enforced on us, and that is where we are, feeling the difference. At the same time, there are so many things which we cannot do over with the use of technology, as Yash said. A cup of coffee or a glass of drink can not be, justified virtually, but it could, just, fill the gap for the time being. That is the only thing. Yeah,
All
over
right.
to you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Kashyap. I think that was easily guessable answer from my end. I think I read your mind already, as I told you about how Vienna has been investing on Zoom. Let me ask Mr. Yash about his response.
I think that the investment over the last span of the year has been in people. We have invested in people who have made various Zoom calls, who have made various I don't even know, have gone out of the way to make sure that everything moves smoothly, even though there is a transition. I've moved my signature online as well now to sign the contracts. So it's been fantastic. But I think my main investment has been the people and the work that they have started putting in remotely as well. But at the end of the day, it has been fantastic because we have been able to remotely hire people, not just from Ahmedabad, which was once the scenario because they always needed to be here. We get great quality of people coming in from all across the world now. So that has been a fantastic resource.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Yash. I think I have something different to ask, because I think Jamin had clearly told me that technology can never be a good friend, especially for a manufacturing industry. So, but I think we are all making a different plan or a different ball game for our businesses post the COVID era. The entire strategy, the entire planning has been completely different on all walks of the business. So, talking about which, I would like to ask Mr. Saurabh and Jaymin a different question at this juncture. What was that one major initiative your organization took to reset the growth? I would like to start with Mr. Jaymin.
As if we consider the investment in technologies, we have not invested much in the technologies in the recent times. And our spendings were into the digital marketing activities to generate more and more leads. This is the best we can do right now. All my sales force is just into generating more and more leads. The closures can happen later. For now, we have been just focusing on creating more and more leads. That is the best we can use right now of technology, considering our business.
All right. Thank you. Over to Mr. Saurabh.
Yeah, actually, as far as our organization is concerned, because we are mainly dealing with the clients for the money recovery and other dealing with the codes. So maximum, see, we didn't even have to invest anything in the technology because we were always having an access of the mobile phone. Your mobile phone or smartphone is itself having all the capabilities of running all the applications and everything. So technically speaking, apart from buying few laptops or a Zoom call, Zoom subscription, we didn't have to invest anything in that. Already the Wi-Fi was there. So that was enough for working. For an organization like us, it varies from organization to organization, of course.
Thank you, Mr. Saurabh. And I have to ask one last question to Mr. Harshadip today. So how is cloud helping BPOs bring agility into their operations? Over to you.
Sure, Muthu. So I would not like to restrict this to pertaining to BPO, but then what I articulate from this is, agility and cloud, it goes hand in hand. So cloud is a means and resource for you to drive the agility, which is basically a behavioral pattern of any segment or business house. So agility cut across all the business business lines across the industry and business vertical. Having said that, it doesn't hold true for BPO, but then in today's context, it is imperative that we bring agility to every facet of business that we drive into. And for a simple reason, there can be a agility where there is a risk of data breach. We can bring agility with help of all available technology where there is a need of call quality management, because your resources are not under one roof. They are spread across geographies and various locations across the cities. Having said that, there is one key point, which is dispute resolution and dispute management. How do you address that? So supposedly one of your trusted colleague or your employee has committed something to your customers, right? And how do you bring parity to this? How do you go and dig down deep in terms of what exactly they have said wrong and where the dispute is? So there is a scope of agility cutting across the business segment, and this can be done beautifully, and this can be controlled beautifully well with set of host of interventions that are available in market. Having said that, I would not like to directly indirectly promote any of our product. Just trying to clarify all our eminent panelists. All I'm trying to draw your attention is to there are set of technologies available wherein you can adopt this set of technologies and have those interventions placed in all these three areas that I've spoken of, and these are the three specific segments that I've spoken. There can be a host of other set of pain points and pain areas where you can bring agility to. Yes, Yash.
Thank you, Mr. Ashwini, for bringing it out, and also for that, caution statement about not promoting. But anyways, I was asking a different question to Saurabh and Jaimin for the last round, but they chose to still answer to the investment part. But let me put that question once again to the panelists. As I was telling you, there has been a strategical difference in the way we did business before and after the COVID era. There has been something new that has been coming up, a new innovation or a new a strategy that has been put in for the business to cope up with this kind of a situation. So at this juncture, I would like to ask you, gentlemen, what was that one major initiative you took to reset growth to your organization? I'd like to start with Kashyap. Over to you.
Yeah. So if you talk about BNI was one of the organizations who was very well aware before the this pandemic hit the entire world. They were there present in China, and the things in China were somewhere in the December, January. So early January only BNI realized that things are going to move and go bad. So the one thing which our organization did was to shift to this digital platform, from physical meetings to going to online meetings very early. In India, if we talk, the lockdown was started on 21st of March 2020, when our Prime Minister said the 1-day curfew, Janta curfew, and then 3 days, and then 21. So way before that, 1 month before, so somewhere in February end, we were preparing the technology. We were being trained how to use this application Zoom. We were also training our members on how to get acquainted to this application. What are the video manners, online meeting manners, how to place your videos, what kind of video camera you should have. All this we started way early, as we predicted this might happen. We were not sure it could go so long. Definitely it is going so long. So that is one thing I would say as an organization, BNI has adapted from going to physical to virtual way before time.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Kashyap. Let me ask Yash the same question. Over to you.
Thank you. I think that one of the major things that we did to reset was that we stopped investing in businesses and we started investing in people. Because at the end of the day, we started realizing that the only solution is by the people. There was quite a lot of debate going on and around, I think, post first month of the lockdown. The reason being that, the question that I jokingly asked as to how do I take out my girlfriend to dinner, but there is a much serious question that needs to be addressed, is that are the laborers actually going to work online as well to make houses for the people? And these things are very difficult because at the end of the day, the question is not about technology is going to thrive or not, because it definitely is going to. The question is about how are we going to get it until what level. While I was in my college, finishing up my college and deciding about some Russian scientist trying to preserve his brain so that it lasts centuries. The question was that, is it even going to work out after 100 years? Because that is how quickly the world changes. And the major investment has always been into people, so that the ideations are always fresh. We are nowhere behind as far as getting the curve. As far as the curve is concerned, we always believe that with time we need to change. It can be this, it can be something tomorrow, and it can
All right.
be back to square one,
Okay.
if it's to say the least. But at the end of the day, we should be able to adapt to whatever it is. So yeah, I think that has been one of our
All right.
biggest.
Thank you, Yash. Thank you, Yash. A gentle reminder to the other three panelists, it's already 4, I think. We are at the closure of the session. So we can have as a rapid fire round. You can have your responses pretty quick, I suppose. Yes, over to Mr. Saurabh.
Sorry.
Yeah. So what was that one major initiative you took to reset the growth?
See, we, as far as the major initiative taken by us was to give the flexibility to our employee to work from home and not expose themselves to the this pandemic. So I have my employee who was almost for 11 months in her hometown, sitting in the comfort of there. Otherwise, they would have left it. So there was no choice for them. So it was about retaining our key manpower was the main issue, and which technology has helped us to adopt it. Otherwise, they would have left our organization. That's for sure.
Thank you, Mr. Saurabh. Over to Jamin.
Yeah, what I really think is there's a lot of unorganized market in the retail sector in India, in apparel sector basically. More than 80% of the retail sector is still offline only, and of which more than 40% is still into unorganized. So we have been working since 2 to 3 months to get this unorganized apparel segment into an organized or a digital manner, wherein they can benefit from the technology. It is not like the unorganized sector doesn't want to adopt the technology, but they don't have the resources or funds to adopt the technology. Their lack of knowledge is the main reason for not adopting the technology. So we have a really high potential in the apparel unorganized sector to take it digital, to increase the sales, to manage that. So we have been investing a lot of money and doing R&D, and a lot of projects are going on to take this kind of unorganized apparel stores to an organized segment or digitally e-commerce stores.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Jamin. I'd like to end today's panel discussion with Bhavani. Over to you.
Thank you. So we were already heavily invested in tech, but with pandemic, we started investing more on people and creating experiences for them. Since we really added more to our bottom line, we try to give it back to them in some way. So, for example, if somebody from the home is not well, they get a paid leave. They don't have to be sick themselves to get it. So we created certain HR policies around it. And because when they start working from home, this is for employees who were not used to working from home, right? There's no line. The line is blurring between the work hours and the personal hours. They don't know how to manage it. For employees who work online, we train them to do this, but we never felt the need to train these people. So we really took this step to explain to them how to manage their time better, how to create the clear demarcation of their family time and the work time, so that otherwise they start feeling overwhelmed, and they started feeling as if they're working all day. At least from office they were done at 6, 7, but when there's this work from home, they're not done even till 12. So yeah, those were the things that we started investing in more.
Wonderful. Thank you, Bhavani, and thank you all the lovely speakers for your valuable input for today's session. I think the last 60 minutes, it was just like a flash to me. But before we end up the session, I'd like to invite Mr. Harshdeep here for a brief closing thoughts for today's session. Over to you, Mr. Harshdeep.
And I would really like to thank each one of you for having spent such a wonderful session with us. Had a great insight from different sector verticals, especially from the two of the conventional sectors, which is construction and manufacturing. And we clearly understand the challenges which is a formidable challenge in current scenario. We all are struggling to cope up with. Having said that, there are interventions available. We have been promoting technologies greatly, being a Tata organization. There are organizations like us available in the market who can help, industries like you across industry verticals in shaping up your digital and transformation journey. Thank you very much, all of you. Thank you for sparing time, and looking forward for more interviewing sessions like these in futures to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashadip. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Ashadip. Thank you, dear panelists. And on
Thank
behalf of
you.
the
Thank you very
doc,
much.
we wish you all the very best in the days to come for your endeavors.
Sure.
Have a great
you.
week
Thank
ahead.
you,
Thank you for
guys.
joining with us. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.